With interest rates at an all-time high and affordability at an all-time low, people are looking for a way to get their feet into the real estate market without actually having to pay a mortgage, and pre-sales are the way you do that. However, if you are going to buy a pre-sale condo, there are a few things you need to understand first before doing so, and in this video, that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm that agent Kelly. I talk about Canadian real estate in my local market of Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley. If you'd like to join the Equity Club, where I share deals, market insights, pre-sale deals, cash flow properties, etc., you can join using the link in my description. And if you like this content, please do subscribe to the channel and like this video. So the first thing I'm going to go over when we talk about pre-sales is the pricing and how it is advertised. Anytime you see a pre-sale marketed, pretty much every time ever, what you are going to get is the starting price. So you may see a pre-sale advertised from $299,000. Rarely ever are you actually going to get that unit that is being advertised at $299,000. That is just the cheapest unit in the building. And typically that $299,000 unit would be the smallest floor plan on the second floor. Now, why the second floor? Well, typically because the second floor is actually the cheapest floor in the building. Usually the first floor is priced a little bit higher because you get a walkout patio, and people deem that more desirable than being on the second floor. Then from the second floor to the third floor, prices might go up an additional $5K for that same floor plan. Third floor to fourth floor might be $10K higher than the second floor. And then let's just say the fifth floor is the highest floor. So you go from second highest to highest. That might be an additional $10K from second highest to highest, meaning from the very highest to the second floor for the same floor plan might be a 20 grand difference. And not every project is the same. Sometimes it's 10K per floor. Sometimes it's a 20K jump if the top floor has higher ceilings and larger windows and etc. But just as an example, going for that $299K unit on the second floor might be $320,000 to $340,000 on the top floor. As well, if there's a good side and a not so good side of the building, obviously there's going to be an additional cost to be on the good side of the building. Maybe one side of the building is facing a busy road and then the back side is a green belt. Obviously, there's going to be an additional cost to be on the back side because the demand for the back side is going to be higher than the front side, and obviously supply is exactly the same, therefore prices have to be higher on the back side. Now, in pretty much every project ever, getting the cheapest unit in the building is extremely difficult and pretty much never happens. So when you're buying a pre-sale, if you still want to try to get, the smallest floor plan, the cheapest unit you can possibly get within that project, a healthy budget would be anywhere from 20 to 50K above what the starting price is. Now, why do they advertise projects this way and not just be open with everybody and tell everyone the prices? And that's a good question. Number one, for marketing purposes, obviously it just makes the project look a lot more attractive. But number two, they actually need to be able to change those prices either up or down based on supply and demand. And the problem is that if everybody knew the price of every single unit, it makes it very difficult to then adjust prices later on without pissing off a certain group of people. If you were to move the prices up, now all the people who are on the fence, who are thinking about buying, definitely aren't buying because in their mind, they feel like they're getting cheated. I could have bought at this price, now it's higher, now I'm definitely not buying. They won't honor the old price when I was thinking about buying a week ago, I'm just gonna not buy. And then if you lower the price, well, now you piss off all the people who already bought. So it's just better for the developer to advertise the price of one unit, the cheapest unit in the building, and then that gives them the ability to change the prices based on what's happening in the market without every single person knowing exactly what's happening with the prices. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is price per square foot. And this is the number one most talked about metric whenever we discuss pre-sale condos. It is a good metric to compare the price between similar projects within an area, but it is just one indicator that should be used in confluence with a bunch of different indicators to arrive to what the actual value of a pre-sale condo is. And all too often, I see people getting caught up in this trap where they're so concerned on what the price per square foot is. That is the price. It is not the value. Two different things. And you should always be looking at a confluence of different things to decide what is the better value for you, because everybody's different situation requires a different pre-sale project or a different investment vehicle. But just to show you why price per square foot isn't the end all be all for pre-sale projects, I'm going to go over some other things you may want to consider when you're buying a pre-sale. So number one, does it have AC? Does it have radiant in-floor heating? Is it concrete or wood frame? How much is the deposit? When is all of the deposit due? What is the completion time? Do you need quicker or longer? What shape is the floor plan? Is it normal or obscure? What is the exposure of the balcony or patio? Is it in the courtyard? Is it mostly shaded? Does it get sun in the morning or afternoon? Does it have a view of anything? Is it on a busy road? Is it on a green belt? Does it have storage? How big is the storage? Does it come with any parking? How many parking does it come with? What amenities does the building have? Do you even want those amenities? Because you're paying for them. Who is the developer? Do they have a track record of delivering a good product? What appliances are included? What brand? Gas or electric? Does it have any built-in upgrade? Any millwork? Does it have a fireplace? Does it have shelving? Does it have closet organizers? How big is the balcony? Is it a quarter unit? And there's probably a whole bunch more things that I can't even remember to think to put into this video, but that's just to give you an example of why strictly price per square foot doesn't mean anything, because you could be looking at a price per square foot unit that's completely cookie cutter with no upgrades, no AC, no nothing, and Samsung appliances versus a unit that has all of that and it's in a much better location with a more reputable builder, blah, blah, blah. And then you're gonna look at that one and be like, well, the price per square foot on this one is better. This is the better buy, which may not necessarily be the case. Next, we have the developer. And this right here, in my opinion, is the most important thing. I would probably look at this before I started looking at pretty much anything else. The developer has to have a proven track record of delivering a good product somewhat close to being on time. I myself, open book, have made the mistake of putting my clients into a pre-sale project just because the valuation looked amazing. Well, lo and behold, that developer never ended up delivering on the product. And yes, my clients did get their deposit back. However, that deposit sat idle, stale money just sitting there for a year and a half, getting no return. And it just sucks, right? They didn't get a return on their money for that, and they didn't get the product, it wasn't delivered, etc. And that's the risk you take when you don't buy with a developer that has a proven track record and tons of capital and investors and etc. So the reputable developer aspect has to be there when you're buying a pre-sale, because it doesn't matter how good of a deal it is. If it doesn't actually get delivered, if it doesn't get built, then there is no deal. And then next we have the deposit or the completion. I'm gonna bunch them together. When it comes to buying a pre-sale, deposit, the lower, the better. The completion, the longer, the better. Typically, I'd recommend buying a pre-sale that has a 10% deposit. Sometimes 15% is okay if you can space them out long enough, or maybe it's like 5 micro payments over a year and a half or 2 years or something like that, then it's fine. 15% is okay, but ideally you'd want it to be like 10% and 4-year long completion. Very, very rare that you would actually find that, but in an ideal world, you want a 5% deposit and a 4-year long completion. And I did actually sell one of those last year, but that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And to this day, that is the only pre-sale that's ever launched that has had that criteria. There's a lot of pre-sales out there, especially towers with these really big name developers that will launch pre-sales with 20% deposits. My opinion would be don't even bother, because there's no point in buying a pre-sale if you have to put down the full 20% anyways. If you have to put down the full 20%, I just buy something already built, pay way less, no GST, and rent it out and get the rental income for that entire 4 years. The benefit of the pre-sale is you can say put down 10%. Let's just say it's a 3-year long completion, 10% deposit. Take the other 10%, invest it in a GIC, invest it in a dividend stock, invest it into something else, invest it into another pre-sale with a staggered completion, right? Now you own 2 properties instead of 1 with that same 20%. Not saying go do that. I'm just saying that's the flexibility that these pre-sales provide. And not only that, if the scenario did come up where, you know, you can sell this pre-sale right after it's finished being built, or possibly assign it before it's finished being built, you've only put down 10%. So your ROI is going to be twice as high than if you were owning already built real estate with 20% invested into the deal. So when you're buying pre-sales, ideally you want the lowest possible deposit with the longest possible completion time, because all the money that you would otherwise invest in real estate, the full 20% when you buy something already built, you can reinvest that money elsewhere and double dip. You get to own the real estate, benefit off the real estate market, but also have the other 10 to 15% working for you somewhere else. So if you want to buy a pre-sale condo, join the Equity Club, the newsletter I've got down below there. Click the link, put your email in there, and I'll keep you up to date with all the projects that I personally go through and handpick myself. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, like this video. We'll see you on the next one. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you.